everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be riding my bike around town to find various outcrops that we have of sedimentary rock, mainly some limestones and some shales, in hopes that I find some cool fossils. So let's get right into it. Now this hill is pretty steep. I'm not going to take the camera up with me because it's steep enough and I have to get myself up there. But what we're dealing with here is Devonian aged limestone, so it's about 280 million years old. So I guess I'll try to explain some things as I go up here, up the hill. So what I believe I'm climbing right now is the shales. So that's basically when, before it was rock, it was mud. So your silts, clays, and your muds. And then those thicker blocks up there, that's gonna be your limestones, the calcium carbonate. And there's probably some calcium carbonate in these muds. It's probably, they have a name for it, but it's probably calcium-based muds or calcium-based shales that we're dealing with here. But, whoa. Sedimentary rocks, as you likely know, and this is why I'm not bringing the camera up, are good for finding fossils. I think that's one right there, just sitting there. Oh, nope, that's an acorn. But sedimentary rocks are good for finding fossils, but they have to be the right age. And 280 million years old, like I said, puts us in the Devonian, and this is a marine environment for these sediments. So I believe at the Devonian, this part of the United States or the continent would have been just south of the equator. So we were near the equator, so pretty warm tropical seas, as you can imagine, which is why there's usually an abundant amount of fossils you can find in these rocks, because it was a warm marine, like reef environment for these creatures at the time. And just while I've been talking, explaining this, I've already spotted some fossils. Right here in this unit, I can see it looks like to be, I believe, a brachiopod. When it comes to fossils, I'll recognize it as a fossil, but I might not know the species. I think it's a brachiopod. Oh man, need to make some footholds here. I got a brachiopod here, and some more right here, whole bunch right here. There's a fossil here, there, and there, and there. I might have to bring the camera up just to show you. It's pretty cool stuff. I think what I'll do is I'll make footpaths as I climb, and I'll explain what I'm seeing as I climb, and then I'll bring the camera up after, once I have a path, basically, so I don't fall down. But yeah, there's all kinds of little fossils right here. Ooh. Hey, take a look at this limestone rock right here. This thing is covered in little fossil fragments, and of course some other rocks, but you can kind of see that near where my thumb is, right there. You can see those fossil fragments. There's some better stuff I'll show you once I take you up there or bring it down. Contributing to the hill erosion. So I climb up here. Now I'm getting to a nice limestone rock right here, where there's some limestone that's buried underneath all the talus, basically. Right below it, there's some layered shales, some muds right here. Pretty cool. There could be fossils in that. That's all shale muds right here that I'm digging into. Some really dark, I wonder if they do have oil shales here, so I don't know, it's pretty dark. It's probably just moist, that's all it is. Oh, it's getting steep. So right here, we have limestone, a big block of it. Oh yeah, and it's loaded with some other fossil organism, lots of shells here. Cool, I'll have to note that when I bring you up. So here we got the thick limestone blocks. There's also some interbedded muds in between the limestone. So we have limestone block and then some muds right here, and then more limestone, and then more mud right here, followed by more limestone. So limestone, mud, thin limestone, thin mud, limestone, mud, limestone, mud, limestone. And that pattern seems to repeat up this whole cliff here, with some thicker blocks of limestone. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything up here, so work my way back down. Oh. So we have some muds, right, as I pointed out. And look at that right there. We have a fossil. So it seems like the lower layers here have more fossils than up above, which makes it easy for me to get to. I don't have to climb as high, work as hard to get them, or to show them to you. I know there's more I saw over here. There's probably a whole bunch more. There's some fossil fragments here. See there, and there. That's part of one. And there. Kind of falling apart though. Look at this limestone here. There's some more fossils in it. Whoa, hold on, what is that? Whoa. So first I thought, is that galena? But that doesn't make any sense. That's really cool. I'm gonna have to collect that. I wonder where that came from. It was just sitting right there. That's really weird. Sitting right there, it's like someone placed it there, but I don't think anyone would do that. So I wonder where it came from. That's really cool. Here we have more limestone. And we have a chunk of Brecciated, I think. And here is that limestone block that I told you was covered in shelled organisms. Kind of hard to spot at first. Once you see them, look at that. Just little shells everywhere in this limestone. This is what you would call a fossiliferous limestone because it's covered or mostly made up of fossils, I believe. It's not the entire thing isn't made up of fossils in this case. You have the concrete, well not concrete, the matrix basically acting as a cementation. Pretty cool though. A lot of these just look like pebbles. They can just pluck these fossils right off out of the hillside here. That's a fossil, some kind of shelled organism. And then the whole top of this piece of rock right here is covered in fossil fragments. See that? These are 280 million year old critters. Look at this one. Just loaded with these marine organisms. You can get a closer look at these limestones and muds. See, can you tell where the limestone is and where the muds begin? Each individual layer. It's pretty cool stuff. I think I'm gonna take this slab here. It's pretty big, but maybe I'll try cleaning it up. You can see all those little fossils in there. I don't know if it'd clean up well, but I can try. All right, I'm gonna walk down the road, see what other outcrops or fossils we can find just down that way. So let's walk down a little ways and see what else we can find. Got some limestone blocks and a lot of shales, it looks like. Doesn't seem to be any fossils that I'm seeing immediately right now. Oh, I've walked quite a ways from where I stopped, and there's no fossils yet. I'm gonna check this outcrop, which is interesting because at the first outcrop, it took me a whole like 2 seconds to find fossils. And here, without doing a whole bunch of digging, I don't see anything. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of digging. If I don't see fossils on the surface, there's probably not fossils to be had. Back there it was pretty abundant. Now there isn't a whole lot of any fossils, just a lot of muds and a couple limestones. So I'm even further down yet, and I thought there was going to be no fossils here, but at the last second I spotted one. Right there. Another brachiopod right in the muds. Ooh, and right next to it, I got some other shelled organisms. There's like 3 different species here. We have this one right here, where my thumb is. You have these 2, which I believe are the same, and then you got this brachiopod. That's really cool. That's a cool piece right there. I'm gonna take that. Maybe I can clean it up somehow. I need to figure out how to do fossil prep and clean them up. And look at right there. Another one. That one's a little cleaner. That's pretty cool. So it's weird how you can go from absolutely no fossils to all of a sudden there they are, and it's not just one, it's many. Here we got a big old block of limestone, and sure enough, you can see these little fossils. Almost looks like a piece of chert, but it's fossilized. I don't know if these fossils here have silica in them or not with the chert nodules, or if it's all calcite. There is chert in some of these limestones. Okay, got a limestone unit there, and below it a whole bunch of muds. Hopefully the ticks aren't bad. The ticks were out last time I went exploring, and I had one end up on my leg. It wasn't fun. Got some modern shelled organisms, some snails. Those aren't fossils. Oh wow, we got some thick limestone blocks up there. I'm not going to go any further, but this is a huge outcrop of limestone right here. I'm going to head on back to my bike and we'll continue on to a different spot. Alright, so I decided to return back to my office. I was running out of daylight and wasn't able to fully explore the area. I did check out a couple other outcrops, but no fossils, so it's outcrop by outcrop. Not all of them have fossils, but let's take a look at these samples that I collected from that one spot right here. These samples are actually from a previous video, one of the very first areas I went looking for fossils here in Kansas. If you want to check that video out, it'll be in the video description or in the corner right up here. Maybe I'll talk about those too. Not only do I want to show a closer look at these fossils, but I also want to try to identify them to the best of my ability from what I've been able to find online. So, let's check them out. Alright, so we'll start off with this sample, and again, I will try to identify these and pronounce them to the best of my abilities. Beginning with this fossil here on the edge, I believe this might be, actually I'm not quite sure. I initially thought it was Reconellus, that's how you pronounce it. I'll put the words down here as well. This big one is, I believe, Dictocanalus, as it's pronounced. And then this one, this might actually be a bivalve for this fossil here. Apologize for the poor lighting in here. I might have to invest in some studio lights of some sort. I only have the light coming through my window and then my ceiling light. It's not the greatest. But this big one here is Dictoclitus, I believe. It is a brachiopod, so this is a brachiopod. I believe this is some sort of brachiopod as well, while this one over here is probably a bivalve. Here's the underneath of it if you want to know. Nothing really going on down there. It could be possible that this fossil is actually called Stromatofata, if that's how you pronounce it. And I'll move on to this sample. This one's actually, I think, one of the best, just because of how clean it is. So this could be Stromatofata, if I'm pronouncing that right, along with the other brachiopods and possible bivalves. This might be a bivalve here at the corner, and I believe these are some brachiopods. And then there's this plate right here. I'm not actually sure what that could be. Perhaps it's part of there's a more scientific name for it, but like a sea urchin exoskeleton. So sea urchins usually have these plates, and when they die, those plates can break away. So that could just be one of the plates there. There's also a crinoid stem. You can see the porousness of it. But this entire piece is just nothing but fossils for the most part. I believe that might be another crinoid stem. Actually, no. Those aren't crinoid stems, are they? Those might be some kind of coral stem, maybe. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not too familiar with my fossils or how to identify them. But flipping this thing upside down, you can just see just the mass amount of fossils on here. There are little crinoid stems, actually, little pieces of them. See them? They're quite small. If I had something better to point with, you can see, I believe, right, these little things here, and here, and there. I believe those are crinoid stems. Really cool fossil there. I have this piece of rock here, just more fossils. Not as clean. And then I have this thick slab that I took, which is mainly covered in the limestone still, but you can see there's these fossils that are poking through in places. If I flip it upside down, there's not really fossils, but you can see like remnants, like top casts of other fossils. Right there you can see there's a little bit of a fossil shell in the limestone, right there. But I was thinking maybe I could somehow split this open a little bit, or maybe use some kind of vinegar or acid solution to clean this rock surface, because limestone dissolves in acids, and maybe if I could do something just to remove that coating of the limestone off the fossils, maybe I could clean up the fossils a little bit. I'm not sure what that is right there, and you see that? It almost looks like a bone. I'm not sure what it is though. But yeah, if I could clean this rock surface off without damaging the fossils, who knows what would pop up from it. Back to this sample, after looking it up a little bit, these pieces here could actually be, if I'm pronouncing it right, stemma malata? Stemma malata? That is what these pieces here could be. Like right here. Really cool piece. Yeah, this is a really cool piece just because you can just see all the fossils and the detail in there. You can see that porous part of the fossil there, like some kind of coral. Then of course we have the opposite side of the fossil. Just tons of fragments. Broken shells, perhaps some crinoid stem pieces. Scattered all along the backside of this rock. Some kind of brachiopod species versus this bigger brachiopod here. And then of course what I believe is the bivalve. I almost forgot. Gotta check these little tiny fossils out as well. I'm not sure what these are. Some kind of shelled animal of some sort. Brachiopod or bivalve. That's probably a bivalve of some sort. No, probably a brachiopod. Maybe these are the little baby versions of these ones, perhaps. Big brachiopod here. That was collected on that other day I mentioned. And this is a crinoid section. I think certain people like to make buttons out of these. I mean, it kind of looks like a button, doesn't it? It's kind of cool. And then we have this other one. I think it's the same species as this. This is just a smaller one. And then this strange thing that I found, if you remember, looked like a little cube. Well, it is a cube. I was initially thinking that maybe this is like a hematite filling of a salt cast. But I believe it's actually, after talking to some people I know, limonite. So this is probably a limonite crystal, basically. All right, so this concludes today's video on fossils, some Kansas fossils I collected out and about at the various limestone and shale outcrops we have around town and the surrounding area. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope I can get another video made here soon and get it up on the channel for you all. So you all take care and have a great day.